Hello everyone and welcome back to the 116th episode of PandTha Talks.
There's too much enthusiasm, I can't handle it.
Way too much enthusiasm, especially when the games industry's falling apart at its hinges.
This is not the real Rory. I don't know what to do about it.
Yeah, sorry, I'm just a step in for this week. I do apologise. Definitely AI, because, you can definitely AI crazy. I don't think that's quite how it works, but, we'll try our best. So, we have I'd say a pretty packed week, to be honest. There's been a fair bit that's gone on. There's nothing that's as interesting as the last 2 weeks, which is kind of sad, but we'll pull what we can and have a good discussion nonetheless. So to start with, we are going to be discussing Gearbox CEO Randy Pitchford, who's turned around and talked on the topic of how fans were concerned about paying $80 for Borderlands 4, saying, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. What a scumbag.
I don't think you at hand, but...
No. Then we'll be talking about the resurgence of Battlefront 2, Star Wars Battlefront 2, because they're attempting their very best, the player base, to get Battlefront 3 made, even though EA have got, no interest in doing so. After that, we'll be talking about nDreams, which apparently the CEO, Patrick O'Luanai, steps down after 19 years, which is crazy. It's such an amazing time to spend as well. Then we've got a readers feature. Oh yeah. After that, we've got a readers feature, which, I mean, if it's anything like the last one, I'd say we're doing pretty well. This week was low-key the worst in modern video game history. And that was released this morning at 9 AM. So we'll see how that's going to go. After that, we'll be moving on to the Splitgate 2 CEO apologising for a server meltdown after the beta goes live, saying we're going to do right by you. So we'll see how they progress over the next couple of weeks with that one. Moving on from there, Larian, Baldur's Gate 3, and the original Sin games have come out and said it did not accidentally leak Divinity Original Sin 3, it was just a glitch on X. Yeah. This sounds so positive there. If there was one thing, one non-AI Computex trend this year, it's that everything needs a damn screen in or on it. I mean, let's be honest, PCs this past year have just basically gone screen here, screen there, screen everywhere.
Literally, the whole case is just, compiled of 50 different screens and no actual, panels.
Yeah. Honestly, eventually we'll get to a point where we've got more screens on our fucking PC than we do in front of us.
How many screens have you got in front of you? 9?
1,200. HellDivers 2 and Palworld devs wish players understood that easy additions and updates are sometimes really hard. That's half a year's work that takes 6 months. I'll be honest. I'm starting to understand how difficult these things can be, so I can sympathise. They listened. Stalker restores Soviet monument after angry fans tanked its Steam reviews, and they couldn't be happier.
I might have bricked my PC.
Already?
Uh-oh.
What have you done?
I downloaded a random Google Doc file.
That's not a good decision. You never do that. FTC drops 2-year case against Microsoft's $68.7 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard. We covered this back when they started, so I think it's going to be crazy to see actually how far this went.
They finally dropped it. Honestly, I had one where it was still going on.
No, neither was I, because it had gone quiet, so I'm quite surprised. But anyways, shall we get into the actual news of the week for this?
Yes, please.
So, Mr. fucking CEO of Gearbox, who also had a massive falling out with the old Claptrap voice actor, which still makes me fucking angry. As gamers expressed concern about Borderlands 4 potentially costing $80, Gearbox chief CEO Randy Pitchford says, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. Talk about a load of shit. You do not say that at all. Because people have different fucking budgets and things.
Yeah.
The video game industry has made the jump to $80. First with Nintendo and Mario Kart World, then with Microsoft and its price hike announcement that will kick in this holiday season, Could Borderlands 4 follow suit? Publisher 2K Games and parent company Take-Two have so far remained vague on whether they will go to $80, and Randy Pitchford has insisted the decision is out of his control. But, responding to one concerned fan on social media, Pitchford set the cat among the pigeons by saying that if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make that happen. What a scumbag.
I think the biggest issue here is the fact that games are going to be going to $80.
Oh, 100%.
It's just a constant price increase, and it's just at some point it's going to become insane. Like, we've already talked about how there's rumors of GTA going to be $100 for base game.
Yeah. I mean, the other thing entirely as well that's been said for a while. At one time a day, these prices were more expensive, and that was because of the physical copies. Nowadays, we're moving further and further away from physicality, but yet we're still charging more and more. How does it add up?
Yeah.
You know, like, some people are going to claim, well, they're spending more on development. That's completely fine. The more on development should bring in new players and new people to gaming, which will then gain them the money that they're looking for. The price doesn't need to go up as long as you're making a good enough product to get the sales. If you're not, then what justifies the increase in spending? There have been so many good games made on lower budgets. Actually, there's been amazing games made on lower budgets. Nowadays, they're spending more money and producing worse.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy.
I don't get how it's justifiable. Randy, this game better not be $80. Don't take that risk. A lot of gamers aren't going to pay $80 and feed this notion of constant increase of the price tag. You are the CEO and have some say with the price when it comes to your publisher. And here's Randy Pitchford's response. A, not my call. B, if you're a real fan, you'll find a way to make it happen. My local game store had Starflight for Sega Genesis for $80 in 1991, when I was just out of high school working minimum wage at an ice cream parlor in Pismo Beach, and I found a way to make it happen. Okay.
Back then, once $80 would have been a lot of money, everything else was a pittance in terms of cost. Nowadays, like, you're walking in the shop and you can't. There's nothing. There's no chocolate bar. There's no packet of crisps. There's no drink that's under £1 anymore. Like, the amount everything has went up is just insane.
Yes, rent $620 a month back in 1991, equivalent to approximately $1,220 in 2020.
Yeah, that's 5 years ago, which is when like this insane market crash happened and everything's just constantly skyrocketing in price. I'd love to see a comparison for now in this year.
So I don't really see that as working very well in his favour there, but here we are. As you'd expect, Pitchford's comment has sparked I'm going to just go vicious response, because I'd imagine it's going to be. LMAO CEO said, real fan, woo-wee, in this economy.
I'm sorry, I got to stop you there. It's really...
I'm so happy that half glitch made it even funnier.
That's this. Can't do nothing about that.
No, Drew. Wow, that's probably a bad take. Cost of living crisis, and you're going to say, if you're a real fan, damn. Another fan said another, what an elitist, out-of-touch response. Another said, his solution, just buy it, you know you will. Is this how you treat loyal consumers? You should have just left that response at not my call and kept the gaslighting out of your response.
But that's the thing, though. Like, Borderlands is huge. I know you are definitely a massive fan of the Borderlands games. And here we go.
We don't talk about Borderlands games.
Yeah, exactly. My point exactly. And I'm not a fan of like the art style, so I can't really get into playing it. But I've seen like clips and stuff. Especially the psychopath guy that like sees the fucking he's like, don't scream at insanity, don't scream at insanity.
Yep.
And it's funny stuff, like, and it's got a massive following, so people are gonna pay it no matter what, and that's why prices keep going up, because people just don't care. No one's actually like trying to rebel against this insane price increase year after year.
Yeah, it's pretty much been the same thing for quite a few years now. That The only way for gamers to vote is to vote with their wallets. So either buy something or don't buy it, or buy it when it's on sale, like is what, I'll be honest, a lot of us do, for the simple reason of
Yeah,
we're telling them we are not going to buy this at full price because it's ridiculous.
yeah. But even these last couple of years, with the abysmal releases we've seen, people are still paying full price for them.
Of course they
And
are.
it's not like only a few of them are. A lot of them are.
And I'll be honest, a lot of it is because a lot of people are still running FOMO, which is the
Yeah,
fear of missing out. And that is the
yeah,
big thing
definitely.
about it. And I don't think that's going to change for a long time, if I'm honest with you. Uh, People are just way too into that, and they're too afraid that they're going to miss out on this amazing game.
And I could have said previously, like, that is absolutely like a real thing, but it's not even. You're not missing out on anything anymore because these games are all releasing in early access and they're just a mess.
Yeah, yeah, no, exactly. I'll be honest. At least on Steam, when a new game releases, you know what? I'm pretty sure I can find an example within about 2 minutes. Let's jump onto early access here. I'm just going to choose the first game that pops up. RuneScape Dragon Wilds. There's one. Infection Free Zone. Manor Lords. All these games that I'm coming across right now are in the early access. So I'll choose this one. Random option. Early access game. You can see right there. Lower price due to it being early access. Now, name me a recent release. Because I guarantee it'll feel worse than an early access game, but it won't have a cheaper price. It won't have the early access tag or anything like it. But it'll feel like it's an early access. Or worse than, in some instances. And my argument is, why is it that we can see games that are in early access that are more of a solid release, runs better, just generally is treated better by the community because they show a lot more care about what they're releasing?
Yeah, I think early access is just sort of being abused. It's a chance for devs to throw whatever the fuck they have out there
Yeah.
to get more money. Whereas we should be getting, if you're gonna release something in early access, it should be the full game, and then you have people to help iron out bugs that they're finding, or you get feedback on certain gameplay mechanics that you weren't sure you wanted in the full game because
Yeah.
you weren't sure how they were gonna like play out with all the players, and you change things like that up. Not, oh yeah, we're releasing version 0.1. You've got about 1% of the game here. 98% of it's broken.
Yeah.
And you can sometimes press W to move forward
Yeah, that's
if you
not
time it
early.
right.
That's not early access. That's early
No,
alpha.
yeah,
That's like,
yeah, the fucking snapshots.
yeah,
I just feel like the early access title is being abused, and it's not early access anymore. You're still paying full price, and you're playing something that is, for the most part, unplayable.
yeah. No, I'm definitely with you on that. It's quite a concern to how we're now starting to see it, but it's even more concerning that the AAA industry is starting to follow the suit, and I
Yeah.
can't for the lie there deciding that's a good idea.
Yeah,
Because
like
it's just
at this
not.
point, they should be doing what these indie devs are doing that we've seen, where they're uploading a file that you download and you can play,
Yeah,
and only play it solo. And just do some sort of way around that, and not have it where you're playing this game you've paid 60 to 80 quid for, that is just a complete pile of garbage.
yeah. I mean, I'll be honest, I don't even mind if, let's say, you see something, you want to support it through development because the developer doesn't have much funds, and they say, look, here's a free version, it's not going to get updated past that on this side. But if you want access to it on like a weekly basis, I'm going to upload a new file version. Support me on Patreon, and you can access them there. I don't even mind that because at the end of the day, if you've enjoyed the free version that they put out to test and you want to support that because you think this could turn out really well, you can keep trying it. You can see the updates as time progresses. And then
There's
eventually when they
even
release, who knows?
there's even stuff that we played the free weekend of No More Room in Hell 2.
Yeah.
And I'll be honest, the game is not even close to being released. They're
Oh
working
no.
on it hard, yeah. But the idea of uploading it to Steam and every now and then doing a free weekend, I would prefer that than seeing a full price tag on it, and immediately going, hell no, because of the state of early access games at the minute, and
Yeah.
never looking at the game again.
Yeah, I think No More Room in Hell 2 being a very specific thing in this instance. I genuinely think we would definitely have more of a likelihood of purchasing it if they keep doing these free weekends and we get to test it as time goes on. Because
And you're getting 2 days to play it as well. It's not like you're not going to get anywhere through much of the game in 2 days time. So it's literally like a demo version, but better, because a demo version limits you severely.
Yeah.
Whereas if it's a free weekend, you're getting access to the full game for 2 days.
Yeah. I think that's why you and me kind of got pretty into the enjoyment of it. There was definitely shit that needed sorting, but for the most part, we did find things that we could definitely enjoy. And I think when the next one comes around, we'll probably jump on and we'll see, what's changed since last time. Is it now?
As you said, there were things that we did enjoy, but in the long run, I wouldn't enjoy playing it in the state that it was in.
No, definitely not. As time progresses,
in 3 months' time, or however long it is before the next free one, I mean, we get it again on the free weekend. Then we can try it again and see like if things have improved, if the things that we didn't like have changed or been removed or just replaced with a completely different system, stuff like that. And then like once it's in a better state, if you think you're actually going to be able to enjoy it more, then you can purchase it.
Yeah, no, exactly. But I'll be honest, taking it back to Borderlands here, one of the big things about this guy as it is, he was, when the whole Epic versus Steam thing went on a while back.
Yeah.
So he released on Epic and basically said something along the lines of Steam probably isn't going to keep its major platform for PC for that much longer. Released on Epic, and then proceeded, I think it was a year or two later, to release on Steam and just completely backtrack the comment. So we can all see how this is going, and I'll be honest, it's a concern that this guy is in charge where he doesn't really seem to know what he's doing. But as this says here, going further down, earlier this month, 2K announced a cheaper than expected $50 price point for Mafia: The Old Country, confirming that it is not an open world game, rather a linear narrative driven game. The announcement was positively received, with many fans saying that they're more interested in a high quality, cheaper, story driven mafia game than a bloated open world game filled with repetitive mechanics. Why wouldn't they
Absolutely.
be? At the end of the day, once upon a time, all people wanted was open world. I'm going to say this straight up. I like
still
open
do.
World. Yeah, no, I'm very much the same. I do love an open world game. But if you give me a solid, crafted, linear game, and it's good, the mechanics are solid, the story's great, I'm going to pick it up and play it. And I will probably have an absolute blast, because it won't feel like the same shit over and over again. I feel like we're getting into pretty much a time now where, very similar to how we did with Battle Royale games being the norm, we're starting to see the same bloat when it comes to single-player games, and it's starting to wind me up a bit. So, let's discuss Battlefront 3, shall we? So the players recently decided that they wanted Battlefront 3 to release, and EA have been very quiet on this for quite a few years, mainly because they lost the Star Wars license, if I do recall correctly.
I mean, after that fucking pile of shit they released.
Yeah.
Are you surprised?
I mean, it was Ubisoft that had the most recent one. But
do you think they want anyone tarnishing the fucking name further after that got released, though?
Well, this is the funny thing. Battlefront 2, recently the players decided to prove to EA and that it can be a good game, and that they do need to release the next part. And they've crashed the servers. Just completely crashed them.
The players or EA?
The players. I'm genuinely impressed that they've managed to do this. Star Wars Battlefront 2 broke its all-time concurrent player count on Steam today. This game is 8 years old and has not been updated for the last 5 years. Said player count was at that. I'm kind of curious, so we'll go to our good old favourite SteamDB.
Absolutely. Wonderful website.
Honestly, I love websites like this that just give you freedom to see what's going on. Never mind, it smashed it further. 17,888 players. This is Steam alone, mind you. This is not including anything else that might, any other platform or anything else. And they're doing this across all platforms, which is crazy to see. And honestly, I am so happy to see that they're doing this. And it's good to see the players actually turning around and going, look, we want something, we'll voice it. I'd just love to see if EA Star Wars are actually going to reply to this matter.
I mean, don't Disney own them?
Yeah. Well,
Yeah.
the EA...
Like,
own
Disney
Star Wars,
owns
EA.
Star Wars, so if Disney decide that they don't want to make another game, it don't matter what you do or what you say, mate.
Yeah, no, exactly.
And as the saying that is, it's tens of thousands of people playing. That ain't nearly enough. And millions wouldn't be enough. You would need at minimum tens of millions.
It would be amazing to see, truly, but I don't think we're at that point yet. I still want to see another Skate game release. I know it's coming.
Skate 3, man. Anytime I think of that game, I every now and then see some clips of it. It's literally just someone doing jumps and just slamming their character off of different bars and stuff. It's so fucking brutal. It's so funny.
Such a cool game. So, nDreams CEO Patrick, I'm not going to try and say his surname. I think I butchered it the first time. Steps down after 19 years. He will resume the role of a non-exec chairperson as Thomas Gillow steps in as CEO. So, nDreams. I'm kind of curious. What do nDreams... What games have been made? I think that's probably the better thing. Well, this is interesting.
Roy, have we been missing out on something?
I think it's possible. We make the world's most immersive VR games. Do you now?
Roy, have we been missing out on something?
I'm feeling that way. I don't know about yourself.
Have we maybe done a stupid?
Possible. Oh, they made Power Wash. I was trying to find a game that I might know. It turns out they've made all the VR versions of a lot of games, it seems.
Honestly, I don't think I could play Power Wash VR, dude, because my arms would just hurt so much from just holding them up in the air, holding nothing.
Same. You know what? I'm going to go with a couple games here that look the most interesting. So, let's have a look through these. So, Synapsis. They're PlayStation. That might explain it. Yeah.
Roy, I don't think we've been missing out on anything.
No, I don't think we have.
And they give me such high hopes.
Stuff. Like, it looks really cool. And I'm sure you could have a real blast on it. But once again, do not exclusivize VR. You're going to fucking anger me.
Yeah, like VR is a tough title to go through as it is, but if you're making it exclusives, it's gonna struggle even more. Like, it's a tough title to go into.
Benzies, Quest. This is for. It's a PvP shooter mover game.
If it's Quest exclusive, especially if it's like not new, so it's like not even the power of the Quest 3, then I don't think there's much to hear about.
Yeah, Vendetta Forever. There's a demo. It's for Quest, PlayStation, and Steam. This is the one that looked more interesting. Let's, I'll just turn down the audio so we can just have a watch. Yeah, this is the one that looked interesting. Reminds me a bit of, what's it called? You're the one that if you don't move...
Super Hot?
That's the one, Super Hot. Reminds me very much of Super Hot.
Just because the art style, yeah?
The art style and the movement sort of thing that they're doing there. It's cool, though. Oh, that would be so badass in VR. You know, I might have to pick up the demo for this.
Ooh. Uh-oh.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a game I'm going to pick up a demo for. Oh, so you can play John Wick. So then we got The Assembly, which is out on everything, apparently. Perfect introduction to VR, we'd have to see on that. I mean, graphically, it looks reasonable. It would be one of those of a wait and see, because I think it's more of like a puzzle and story-based thing rather than anything else. And Bloody Zombies. Ah, I see. It's more like a Switch game.
Yeah.
Yeah. Not my cuppa either. But no, it seems like they've been working on a fair few games over the years, and fair play to them. It seems like they're starting to focus highly on the VR market, which, I mean, damn good to see. I always do enjoy seeing a nice VR game kick up, especially considering, you know, We don't seem to get nearly enough of them, which still to this day makes me quite sad.
Yep.
So, nDreams CEO Patrick is stepping down after 19 years. He has said he will still be working closely with the exec team and Ionic to shape the company's future as a non-exec chairperson. I have loved my 19 years as CEO, and it's going to be great to continue to keep a close eye on nDreams. Exciting journey from my new role. Talking about a new CEO, Thomas Gillow, who has been running development at nDreams for almost a decade. Patrick added, Tom knows the company and teams better than anyone, and most importantly,
Did you just pull Patrick from?
That's his name there, Patrick.
Oh, okay, right.
Yeah.
I was reading that. I'm like, wait, what? Patrick?
Yeah, and then anyone, and most importantly, knows VR and MR game development inside out. And I have no doubt that he'll do a fantastic job along with the incredible exec team that we have built. In a responding statement, also posted to nDreams LinkedIn, the company said, as a company, we'd like to thank Patrick for his years of wonderful leadership. His forward-thinking vision for VR has led the company from success to success. But more than that, his guidance, calm presence, and patience with colleagues has set the example for leadership in our company. That said, we're extremely excited to welcome our longtime colleague, Thomas Gillow, as CEO, with more than a decade's experience as the company at the company. We know that he's the right man for the job and are excited for his next chapter in nDreams. I mean, it's good to see. At the end of last year, nDreams made mass layoffs. Delightful. Saying that despite exploring multiple alternatives to avoid such action, a new strategic focus could result in redundancies affecting up to 17.5% of the company. Then in February, it launched a new studio called Compass and shut down 2 others.
Right then.
That sounds logical. Not. So, Will, do you see the article here?
Oh, let me get past all the red.
Yeah, I mean, all of the Vodafone ads here, yeah. This week was low-key the worst in modern video game history. Reader's feature.
I don't know. How about that week of Concord, man? That didn't go down very well.
Yeah, I mean, I'm surprised that they can say this one's the worst, but we'll see what they're saying. We'll see.
I'm more getting at the fact that Concord was literally for a week.
Yeah, that's very true. A reader is disturbed by the amount of bad news in the video game world at the moment, especially as most of it involves issues that have been brewing for many months. Oh, layoff after layoff by chance.
Many years.
That's true. We are in a strange situation right now with video games, where almost all the news is terrible, and yet great games continue to be released. This has the side effect of masking the serious issues from many gamers, who either don't know or don't care about what's really going on. As long as games as good as Claire Obscure Exhibition 33 and Monster Hunter Wilds are still coming out, then everything must be fine, right? Wrong. I mean, this is what we've been saying for a while. That's the thing, you get the occasional good game, and we're sort of that, even we are celebrating it, but that's because there's nothing else to celebrate in the industry at the moment.
No.
So you give us the smallest positive, and we jump on that and hope for the best. What disturbed me this week, while reading the Metro, is that apart from job cuts, although they were implied, it had examples of all the biggest problems going on. What I found extra worrying is that not only did they happen all at the same time, but they're all long-running issues that show absolutely no sign of being fixed. Perhaps the most obvious problem was growing inevitably of £80 becoming the default price for big-name games. At this
point, we literally just talked about.
Yeah. At this point, it'd be a victory if it only increases to £80, because GTA 6 will almost certainly be more, yeah?
Again, the rumours of it being £100 for base game.
Exactly that. I mean, this is the thing. They're going to up the price of games again. It was only recently up to £70, right?
Yeah, it wasn't even that long ago.
No, it was literally, we've been doing this podcast for as long as £80, £70 has been the default. Because it got up to, I think, like the first 2 months of us doing this. So, just about 2.5 years. Just about. And you're telling me that the £70 increase and the constant amount of sales that you get annually, with the £20 increase compared to what it was, because it was like at 50, then it went to 60, now it's at 70, it's going up to 80 again. You tell me with these increases, you cannot afford to keep the staff.
Sure.
It just...
With the millions and millions of sales at the even higher price tag, and they're still laying off like 20% of the company.
Yeah, and it's all because shareholders aren't happy. Well, yeah, that's because you manage like dog shit. Clearly. What was all so awful about this week's news is that we had 2 big industry figures telling us that we actually we shouldn't complain. We should get a second job to afford games and just eat the cost. I wouldn't
Not when it was that simple.
Yeah, I know, right? I wouldn't necessarily expect better from someone like Randy Pitchford, but hearing the ex-Sony guy say that we shouldn't complain just shows how out of touch these execs and decision makers really are. Increasing costs will lower the number of games people buy, and that means a lot of titles and companies are just going to have the door slammed in their faces. What a shock. What have we been bloody going on about? People's money is not going to stretch as far as it used to, and that is going to be a big problem for some games. Many are already predicting Marathon will either be a flop or just cancelled. We're not surprised by that at all. Before it gets a chance, and it's not hard to see why. Nothing about it looks appealing, and Sony seems to be looking for any excuse to shut down Bungie completely, at the loss of hundreds of jobs. Oh, and the reason for Bungie's downfall? Corporate greed, according to the people that used to work there. That's not exactly shocking news, but...
No, it's not.
There it is in black and white. All these problems could have been avoided if Bungie's bosses had thought of the company first and not themselves. What a fucking shocker in the games industry. But then, we also had the revelation of the boss of Take-Two that the boss of Take-Two doesn't play video games and has no interest in trying out GTA 6, even though he totally could. What a fucking shocker. The people who run the industry have no idea about the industry. What a surprise. This is also a massive non-surprise, and probably very common in the games industry, where decisions are made on a spreadsheet and not from a place of passion or ambition. This is the second readers feature in 3 weeks that I'm agreeing with.
Times are changing, man.
Yeah, times are. More readers.
It's gonna be the apocalypse soon enough.
The concerning part is more people are starting to see this, yet nothing's happening still.
I mean, once they start releasing these higher and higher price tags, mate, and people just stop playing these massive titles, and we all just switch to indie games because they're actually reasonable about things, because they understand, because they are one of us.
Yeah.
Then we'll see a change, but by then it'll be too late.
It's feeling that way, honestly. Sometimes they just seem to lack basic competence, though, such as such as the lack of any plan for when games become too expensive and time-consuming to make. A problem they must have seen coming years ago. This was illustrated perfectly this week by Hideo Kojima saying his Metal Gear spiritual sequel won't be out for 5 or 6 years, even though he announced it over a year ago. The amount of time it takes to make a game is out of control, but nobody is going to do anything about it. And then, to finish, we had the rumour that Sony is going to have a state of play this summer. Not a full showcase, or possibly have nothing at all in terms of not E3 events, thereby setting us up for another 12 months of no major announcements and only 1 or 2 releases.
This is what happens when you lay off half your company that's full of people with actual experience and hire these people that have no fucking clue what they're doing and give 90% of the money to the CEO who sits and does nothing.
Yeah, I don't want to get anyone down, but I do think it's important to point out the fact that just because good games are still coming out, it doesn't mean that it's not chaos behind the scenes, which ultimately is only going to lead to even greater disasters if none of the problems are dealt with. I agree with a lot of what Ollie said there. I do think the time that it takes now to create games is, I'd say, a lot of, well, somewhat it's to do with the fact that that people's opinions and wants and needs in gaming has increased over the years. Not entirely, but that is definitely going to be a part of it, because that's just the way it goes. But at the same time, you do have a lot of the problems that he did state there. There's so many issues with the industry just as is, and there's nothing we can do about it as regular people. What I'd like to see is a lot more, and I mean a lot more, mainstream developers turning around and joining indie studios, joining indie creations, because I would absolutely love to see more indie games starting to get the love and passion that these developers clearly have, but they're stopped because, oh, well, sorry, corporate greed. But I suppose that's something we'll hope and see in the future. Hopefully. In the magical word. We're gonna do right by you. Splitgate 2 CEO apologises for server meltdown after the open beta goes live. I don't know if you ever played the first Splitgate. I sat and played for quite a few hours. It's basically Halo multiplayer, but with portals.
Yeah, I remember seeing it.
I had a blast with that game. It was surprisingly enjoyable. The Splitgate 2 servers were taken offline just hours after the beta began, and they're still not back. The Splitgate 2 open beta is not going well. In fact, it's not going well going at all. After running headlong into serious technical issues following the launch of the beta test on May 22nd, developer 1047 Games have taken their servers offline and is now working around the clock to get things fixed and back online. Obviously, this is not the spot we thought we'd be in 24 hours after the launch of the beta, the CEO Ian Prolux said in a video message. We thought we would be in great shape by now, and obviously that's not the case. We're really sorry. This is what we've been working on for years. What I've personally been working on since college 10 years ago. This is, I don't know what to say. I'm so sorry. We're going to do right by you. We are committed to making this the best game possible, getting these servers fixed as soon as possible. We are working around the clock. We were up late last night grinding. The team is, we're going to get there.
That's another thing I've noticed with these live service games as well, is servers are getting worse as well.
Oh, yeah. So
they're raking in this insane amount of cash because the main game is free to play, and then they have 7 billion cosmetics costing 50 quid each.
Yep.
And servers run like shit.
You know, I've not actually checked out Splitgate for a while. But the first one I really did enjoy. It was a good game. It just really was. It was good fun, dumb, weird, but it was enjoyable. And a lot of people clearly did enjoy it. Some people didn't, but that's up to them. A lot of people clearly did. 91% out of 111,000. That's pretty impressive numbers for a game that came from nowhere. And if you actually check, 1047, the first game that they'd ever made as a company was Splitgate. So, impressive to see. They did have cosmetics. I don't remember the whole system for it, if I'm brutally honest with you. But I'd imagine the sequel is probably going to be something similar. They basically founded, though, the sequel off of the cosmetics from the first game.
I've got to be honest. Seeing their color design and all that, yeah. I'm starting to see where Marathon might have got some of their ideas from.
Yeah.
But they made it so much worse because, at least the guns here look reasonable.
Yeah, definitely. The gunplay was actually really enjoyable in this game. It's surprisingly enjoyable. This shit, though, I disagree with. I think this is where they're going wrong. They already have stuff. Yeah, and as they're saying here, it is to have. I think it is to have a battle pass and up to $60 bundles in a beta that is riddled with progression bugs and connectivity issues. These are major issues.
But that's what it's all about these days. It's not about paying a price tag anymore. It's about paying for a subscription because it's infinite money.
Yeah, I mean, clearly the game itself, the actual main stuff, is going to be very similar to the first one. New maps, new designs, new weapons, stuff like that. New features, probably. But it's going to be free to play. Shooter, portals, all that sort of stuff. They're just going way too hard on the payment side. Be careful with what
And
you're doing.
that's pretty much what games are these days.
Yeah, exactly. It's not clear what exactly went wrong. 1047 said shortly after the beta began that it was aware of an issue causing a variety of slowdowns across systems, including delays in XP/progression gains and matchmaking. But apparently it wasn't a universal problem, as some people didn't have too many issues. While playing, staff writer Morgan Park was able to play a few matches throughout the day yesterday, but matchmaking was noticeably slow. But a lot of players were stuck in broken game states and couldn't get into the game in the first place. Rather than leaving it up, we decided downtime was a safer alternative to get everything sorted out efficiently. While Splitgate 2 is not fully released at this point, the open beta is planned to roll right into 1.0. This means that the in-game shop is live, and some players had also reported delays in receiving items they purchased, or that they'd simply not received them at all. Prolux made it a point of reassuring everyone that all purchases have been recorded and will be honoured when the game comes back. Any skin that you may have purchased or earned is all there. It's all in our system. You have not lost it. You have my word. The good news
Notice
is...
so that that's one of their main focuses is making sure that they're going to keep their money and people aren't going to try and charge for refunds because they haven't received their items.
Yeah.
And that's where we're going wrong with games, is it's all about money.
Oh yeah. Don't get me wrong, money is definitely required for development. 100% it is. No one can say otherwise. But
but when that's all you focus on...
Yeah, it's the fixation. That's the problem. The good news, such as it is that 1047 Games has fixed a lot of really good bugs during the downtime. The bad news, Prolux said, is that those are not the bugs that we need to fix. A time frame of Splitgate 2's return hasn't yet been shared, but Prolux has said a more detailed update on what's happening will be posted later today. Now, when did this happen? This happened 2 days ago. So I'd imagine that Splitgate 2 is probably back up and running now. Second.
Silly boy, should have went here in the first place.
Yeah, I realised what I was doing afterwards. You know me. Okay. I'd say it's highly possible that, yes, it's back up and running, but I can't say for certain. The other possibility is if I go to Twitter, search Splitgate 2. This is my best clip in Splitgate 2.
I don't think they fixed it.
I don't think they did either. Here we are. We're seeing good signs since opening back up a limited number of servers. Matches are running smoothly and have been steadily raising the server capacity over the last few hours. So they're slowly raising things back up. So we'll see over the next couple of weeks, I think. Larian insisted... Sorry, go on.
Not great for them.
No, definitely not. Larian insists it did not accidentally leak Divinity Original Sin 3, it was a glitch on it. A brief and unexpected change to the studio's social media handle had followers pretty excited. So, is there like a thing about it? Okay. Time to do a bit of reading.
What's the last thing that we covered that was an accidental leak?
Ooh, what was that now?
I'm not sure how you accidentally leak something.
Yeah, I'm kind of curious on this one, I must admit. There was a brief surge of excitement for a couple days ago when Larian Studios temporarily changed its handle from on X from Larian Studios to Divinity. This was a big deal, or at least it appeared to be, because prior to hitting the big time with Baldur's Gate 3, Larian was known as the studio behind the very long-running Divinity series of mostly RPGs. I do enjoy the Divinity Original Sin games. They're fantastic and crazy. Very much lunatic's dream. The amount of people I've robbed and then just dropped explosives and stuff in their pockets. It's fun. And the name change had an awful lot of fans thinking maybe the studio was going back to its roots for the next big game. Larian has made a clean break from Baldur's Gate, but what it's doing next remains a mystery. The studio apparently now has 2 new RPGs on the go, both of them big, but beyond that, it steadfastly refused to say anything more. A new Divinity game certainly seems like a possibility. Divinity Original Sin was in many ways Larian's big breakthrough game, and Original Sin 2 was even bigger success and claimed our Game of the Year award for 2017, which isn't nothing. Yeah, sure, PC Gamer. Feel proud of yourself. So, Divinity Original Sin 3 when? Then. Not so fast. Shortly after reports of the social media switcheroo started to gain traction, Larian Director of Publishing Michael Dowse took a break from his day to throw cold water all over the whole thing. Unfortunately, depending on your perspective, this is just part of a process to take stock of what we own, and what we have, and haven't claimed when it comes to our IPs. Turns out it's a good idea to own the ats relating to IPs that are yours. For example, to prevent people scamming off the back of your brand, etc. Twitter are transferring a bunch to us, but inexplicably swapped out this one for the Larian account. I wish it were more exciting, but we are still working on multiple projects and don't expect any announcements anytime soon, especially not while I'm watching 1923 on Paramount Plus at 1 AM. But soon, if anyone at you from Larian related account, at least you know it'll be us scamming you and not someone else. So basically, Twitter bugged and changed the app that it shouldn't have changed. Good to know. So, screens everywhere, not enough screens, yeah? We in agreement?
Seems like it.
Yeah. I mean, it's become a bit of a problem lately. We can probably all agree that what your PC really needs is a water cooler with a screen. Sorry, make that a water cooler with 2 screens. Oh, third thought, maybe a water cooler with a remote control motorized screen. What?
That you can play your game on.
Oh, yeah. Actually, if Computex 2025 is anything to go by, what your PC needs is simply more screens. Because the show was stuffed with them, including plenty of intriguing, actual, monitors. Let's just...
What is this mess?
That's a very good
my
point.
god, what is that one that you hovered at the start? Second one, I think? Yeah, that. That is the screen on the right. What the hell?
Yeah, it is.
What is that cooler as well, dude?
You see, Computex is pretty much just like them advertising what new stuff they're going to be doing as part of the industry and shit like that. If the endless streams of AIOs with big screens coming out this year, what in hell's name?
What is that?
It's an AIO.
That's in it.
It's an AIO with a screen on it for some fucking reason.
Why? What could you possibly do?
I don't know. Oh, I did see though that this was happening. The retro build guys. Who basically...
I see them all the time.
I love these.
You see like an absolute beefy PC in like the oldest possible case you could think of.
Yeah, and the thing is, they've upgraded it, so this is the new version. And apparently, these floppy disk trays open up, and you can either have like a disk drive in if you want, or you can have it as slots for your HDDs.
Yeah,
which is a cool idea. I still love though that they've got this little key system, and basically, if you turn it off, no one can turn on the PC randomly if you're away. Stuff like that I just think are great. But why? So many bloody... Why?
Why is that? That looks awful.
Yeah.
It's like a tumor on your PC.
You know what? I can neither compliment nor decline that that's actually nice, because that space up top is always empty, pretty much, unless you've got fans up there. So having something up there wouldn't be the worst thing in the world, but it depends on the style of case you've got. That's just dreadful.
That is awful looking.
That's too far out.
I don't want to see like an external view of what that looks like, because the fact that we're at an angle seeing that head on,
yeah,
that cannot look good.
No.
Also, the fan is absolutely minuscule compared to the case.
Yeah, I'd say genuinely this is probably the nicer one that we've seen.
Yeah.
And that's just that. Oh, there's a screen there too. You see?
So I see that little part in the middle of the fan where the bearing that covers the bearing of it. That'll have a screen soon.
Oh, guaranteed. Oh, actually, that does have a screen.
You're joking me.
No, that's saying it's 36 degrees, I think.
Bruh.
Oh yeah, because there's another one there that says CPU.
Oh my god. Stop, please.
They're just putting screens on everything. That's all this is.
So pointless.
So, our big concern for the next couple of years of PC development is screens everywhere. Just how long do you think it'll be before we get Doom running on a fan?
Someone's probably already done it, man.
Oh, guaranteed. HellDivers 2 and Palworld devs wish players understood that easy additions and updates are sometimes really hard. That's half a year's work that takes 6 months. Games are so meticulously crafted. Like, game development is not as easy as it looks, to put it lightly. As this guy says here, I don't envy game developers sometimes, nor do I envy the assumptions they have to hear time and time again from players. Assumptions like, why didn't they just add a theft and crime system? Why didn't they just do this? It's so simple. And most infuriatingly, these devs are so lazy. As a critic, I might absolutely dunk on the end product, but I'm never in doubt that folks worked hard even when it's a stinker. Very much true. Don't get me wrong. We will sit there and rib a lot of games, but typically we're comparing the development price between two different games that do very similar things. Prime example of this, Overwatch versus Concord. Concord spent way more fucking money than it should have. Just simply put. That same frustration comes clear in some responses to recent mega interview by Games Radar, Austin Wood, which is well worth a read. It's an assemblage of dozens of developers across the industry who are keen to dispel myths about how they make their games. Both Arrowhead's CCO and Palworld's publishing manager has got their say, and as two studios who found recent unexpectedly massive success, they both have some very similar takes on the subject. The one thing people misconstrue the most is if you think about when movies are made, Palst explains, you get an actor and they're there. You tell them what to say, but games are so meticulously crafted, you have to build the actor from the ground up. Players often say they can't they add this to do or do that, but most of the time, the decisions you make, especially the larger the game gets, have so many consequences that cascade. It makes something that seems really easy that seems easy really hard, or something that seems really hard super simple. It's unintuitive unless you've worked in games to see how they're really created. Buckley echoes this later in the piece as well, though he also side-eyes the live service churn of our modern gaming landscape. I think gamers have just become so used to this kind of constant cycle, they're now applying it to every game they play. It does seem that way, sometimes, and while I'm guilty of having a moan about game content cycles myself on this very site, though I maintain that Square Enix isn't a small studio and probably has enough money to hasten Final Fantasy XIV's glacial patch schedule a bit, I try to understand that those issues, as always, stem from outside and logistical factors rather than the sin of sloth. I'm very much in agreement on that, to be honest. I would have to agree that people are way too used to this live service system. And yeah, we're going to complain about things that we definitely want to see patched, but as we've done with Stalker 2, and I think us with Stalker 2 is a very alignment on this matter, we've given it time, we've left it. And each patch note, we go back and check. We have a look. We see how it's doing. And, I mean, what I sat and played the other day, I actually thought was pretty reasonable for Stalker 2. I thought they've come a pretty decent way.
I mean, the game is still a great game.
Oh, yeah.
All they're doing now is getting systems to work the way they wanted, because unfortunately they had some issues on launch and they had to disable certain features of the game, which is fair, but the game itself still played really well. And now all they're
Exactly.
doing is they're going to make it so when you're traveling from point A to point B, you're not just traveling.
Yeah.
There's actually going to be stuff happening, and
There's shit to
that's
do.
really the main thing they're missing.
Yeah. No, I'm with you there on that one. Buckley adds a new island in Palworld. That's half a year's work. That takes 6 months. And when it comes out, people are super excited. But you just get so many nasty comments before that about these things. And you try to explain it. And there'll always be a few gamers who get it and they really appreciate that dialogue. But quite a lot of them don't. It's it's genuinely hard to hear for them because the developers know what they're talking about. They know about the industry and they know how difficult it can be. It can take absolute years to make a simple game. And if you don't believe me, just go and download a game engine. Try and learn it. See how you do.
Yeah, like no, none of them are going to do that though. They don't care. They just think it's as simple as making some pie.
Yeah, exactly. But just
If they
follow
would
this
actually
recipe
try it
book.
themselves, you would. It's like learning another language with no reference or guide.
Yeah, it is very difficult. They listened. Stalker restores Soviet monument after angry fans tanked its Steam reviews, and they couldn't be happier. After fans created the Stalker trilogy's Steam reviews, not created, to mostly negative in the hours immediately following launch, GSC Game World has released patches 1.0.1 for its fully remastered and optimized trio of original Stalker games. This one promises to fix the crashes across multiple platforms, issues with the games remembering what the hell your settings are, and crucially, fixed issues with missing geometry on several levels. Which might not sound like the kind of thing to start hooting and hollering about, but what matters is which geometry has been restored. When the Stalker remasters hit last Tuesday, fans had complaints. They complained about the blurry graphics, which I have to know I can't say I noticed in 20 plus hours of Shadow of Chernobyl, issues with settings, and most vocally, the game's removed Russian audio settings and deleted Soviet landmarks. Well, it looks like GSC is reversing course on the latter of those two things. Patch 1.0.1 has restored the previously deleted monument slash sign right outside of the Chernobyl power plant itself, reading in Russian, Chase, in the name of V. Lenin. Fans are pretty stoked about this. They listened, exclaims one popular post on the Stalker subreddit, whose author goes on to say the enhanced edition still has some issues, but god damn it, it's so glad they are actually work on fixing the game and do not ignore the feedback. Others share the enthusiasm. Super surprised they actually listened, but very happy they did. They did good. These landmarks are part of the zone and areas stuck in time, history. No reason to remove them. Good call, GSC. So fans are
I mean,
pretty happy.
let's be other. If there's one
Ooh,
thing that the Stalker 2 devs has done right, is they've listened to the community.
yeah, 100%. I mean, pretty much that's going to be the main thing about this. Let's just be straight up. They listen to their community, they do what they can, and
Again, though,
it's not
like
always
if you're
going to
going
be
to do
right.
early access, this is what you do it for. You have the main game release, not some bit ass version
Yeah,
that barely even functions. You release an actual main game, and if you're going to put it in early access, that's because you've still got bugs that need ironed out, and you need people just to basically play test it by just playing the game.
yeah,
You come across some shit that happens, most people tend to go and make a review about it because it fucked them over somehow. Maybe they lost a bit of their save because they fell through the map, or it just corrupted a file or something like that. You
yeah,
make a report about it in your review, and you typically, if it's a massive issue that happens often, a lot of people are going to have it,
yeah.
and they'll see that and they'll fix it. That's how it works. Not, hey, here's this pile of trash that we want you to play with no negative reviews. Thanks, guys.
I mean, I'll be just straight up here. I think that over time, if they continue to work on it the way they've worked on Stalker 2, which I can highly believe they will, we're going to see this review score flip. But
Yeah. And
we'll
people
give it.
will go and alter their reviews when they hear that this has happened. They'll
Yeah,
go back and play it again, and probably honestly not even play the whole game. They'll just see that's changed, change the review, and never launch it again.
yeah, that's how a lot of them are. So, last topic for the day, Will. FTC drops 2-year case against Microsoft's $68.7 billion acquisition of Activision Blizzard. We covered this back when the Activision Blizzard sale was going on. Though the acquisition went ahead in 2023, the FTC has continued to appeal until now. I can't believe it's been going on this long.
It's kind of insane. You gotta wonder what the hell they've been doing this whole time, because we didn't really hear anything else about it.
Yeah, it was very quiet. Microsoft acquiring Blizzard may be old news, with the deal finalising back in 2023, but the legal battles with the FTC has persevered. Despite being approved after some contention in most countries, including the UK, the acquisition has faced continuous backlash in the United States. It seems the FTC has finally run out of steam in the incredibly long-winded fight and will now opt to drop the case against Microsoft rather than continue to appeal.
I bet you need some like a refresher as to what they were appealing.
Um,
Like what was their issue with Microsoft acquiring them? I've
if
kind of
I,
forgotten.
it's been a while. I've got a feeling in this article we're going to find out, be reminded what it is. As Verge reports, this comes just days after the FTC lost the preliminary injunction to prevent Microsoft from finalising its acquisition. Now, instead, the FTC has officially filed an order to dismiss its complaint against the tech and gaming giant. The Commission has determined that the public interest is best served by dismissing the administrative litigation in the case. Now, as we've been going, I do believe that basically the fight was all based around they thought that it was going to be basically unfair on other companies if Microsoft purchased Activision Blizzard. They thought it would be unfair for the gaming space as a whole, and there would be not enough competition in the market. This puts an official end to the battle to stop Microsoft's deal from going through, but probably won't stop the "I told you sirs" during the fight. Concerns around Microsoft's business practices in the gaming sector have been continuously raised. This includes questioning firings, which contradict Microsoft's pledge to keep the acquired studios independent. It also touched on price hikes to Game Pass after adding high-profile titles like Call of Duty, which the FTC went against Microsoft promises going into the acquisition. Fair points there. It has been made clear for a while the FTC is fighting a losing battle here. Once Microsoft was able to convince the UK's Competition and Market Authority to rule in its favour, it was fairly clear where the chips were going to fall in this scenario. Still, it's good to see the fight against corporations with the goodwill of the consumers in mind. Unsurprisingly, Microsoft is very happy with the deal. Today's decision is a victory for players across the country and for common sense. In Washington, D.C., says Microsoft Vice Chair and President Brad Smith, what a fucking bland name, said in a post to X, "We are grateful to
Fucking hell,
the
man.
FTC for today's announcement." I mean, come on. Talk about, like, if you ask an AI to generate a name, Brad Smith is probably one of the top 10 that you're going to get every time.
So you tell me they've been ahead of the AI market for like 20 years?
It wouldn't fucking shock me. Now, from a consumer standpoint, it will be interesting to see how Microsoft proceeds, now unbothered by the FTC's appeals, especially for customers in the United States. We'll have to wait and see how the new tariffs will likely lead to further price increases for Microsoft products and services, and how these may potentially compound with these or further acquisitions, as well as whether
We've already seen price increases.
Yeah, I mean, I'll be honest, I'm unsure now whether or not it's going to be a case of, oh, can we blame some of it onto the tariffs and stuff, or are
Oh
you
no,
opposed to
they're
stuff?
absolutely gonna blame as much as they can on it to make it look like they're not doing it on purpose. So that
Oh, they
people
have been for
like,
a while.
so they persuade people so that they keep paying for the product or the service.
Yeah. Now, if that was the case, then clearly the logical thing to do would be once the tariffs drop the prices. Somehow I can't see them
If
doing that.
if the tariffs drop.
Well, I mean, we'll see over the next couple of months, won't we? Couple years. But yeah, it's been a week of mostly negative news, sadly.
Not much grit, no.
No, there hasn't been much in positive sides. It's been good to hear from the different studios and developers on their side of things, because I think, to be honest, it's quite needed on, especially nowadays, because we don't really hear much about them, and it's quite sad. But we get to hear their point of view occasionally. It's become more prevalent, which is damn bloody needed, especially when the CEOs and the bloody shareholders are the ones making all the comments, and then everyone just batters the developers. Don't do that. Leave them alone.
Well, I think if there's one good thing to take out of this week's episode, it seems like the issues are coming more into light.
Yeah,
Especially with the bigger titles and these price tags as well.
I definitely agree with that. It definitely does seem now that we're starting to see the root of a lot of the problems. And who knows, we might even start to see a lot more indie studios starting to open up and a lot more people backing them, which I think would be fantastic.
We can but hope.
Oh, indeed we can. But anyways, I think that's everything for this week, unless there's anything you would like to add, sir.
No, nothing I can think of.
No problem at all. Well, in that case then, thank you all very much for watching. If you have enjoyed, feel free to like, follow, subscribe, comment, and all that good stuff. And the Discord is in the description if you would like to join and drop any information whatsoever. We're more than happy to talk about anything.
Yeah, we're no longer in Finland, by the way, according to Discord.
Yeah, we fixed that at last. Well, we'll, because goddamn, what a weird time that we've had with Discord. Thank you very much, Discord, when you don't even have a Finland server.
Yeah, I got nothing.
Yeah, neither do I. But now, without further ado, thank you all very much for watching, and we will catch you all next time.
Thanks for watching, guys. See you next week.